Very good morning, students. I hope you all are safe at home. I welcome you all, smart children, to this smart class teaching of social science. Let us now go to the lesson. Unit 4, India's Foreign Policy. What do you mean by foreign policy? Foreign policy or foreign relation refers to how a government deals with other countries to safeguard the interest of the nations and its citizen. Learning objectives of this lesson. What you will be learning in this lesson. Identify the basic principles of India's foreign policy. Explain the meaning and significance of non-alignment. Analyze the stages of our foreign policy. Explain the importance of foreign policy. Recognize the difference between domestic policy and foreign policy. So about all you will be learning in detail in this lesson. See the introduction of the lesson. Foreign policy. Yes, foreign policy can be defined as a country's policy that is conceived, designed and formulated to safeguard and promote her national interest in her external affairs in the conduct of relationships with other countries, both bilaterally and multilaterally. This was the definition given. Listen. Foreign policy can be defined as a country's policy, one country's policy that is conceived, that is planned, designed and formulated. What for? To safeguard, that is to protect and promote, improve her national interest in her external affairs. External affairs, outsources of the country in the conduct of relationship with other countries. For what reason? In order to create a relationship with other countries, both bilaterally and multilaterally. Bilaterally among two countries, multilaterally with three or more countries. That is, any country's relationship with other countries is called as a foreign policy. Let us now see the main objectives of our foreign policy. First one, national security. Next, national prosperity. Increasing the number of friendly nations. Achieving world peace and enable every nation to peacefully coexist. Economic development. These are the main objectives of our foreign policy. National security, well safeguarding country. National prosperity, we have to prosper. Increasing the number of friendly nations, we should have a very good friendly relationship with the other countries. To achieve world peace and enable every nation to peacefully coexist, not involving in any of the warfare. And last one, economic development. Next one, the very important foreign policy of India is Panchsheel. Panchsheel. It is derived from Sanskrit word Panch and Sheel. Panch means 5, Sheel means virtues or principles. So the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence between India and China was signed on 28th April 1954. The two governments entered into an agreement based on the following principles. So these Panchsheel consist of 5 principles. Let us see what are they. First one, mutual respect for each other's territorial integrity and sovereignty. Mutual means equal respect for each others, that is all the countries. Territorial integrity is a principle that it seeks to protect states from act of aggression of other state. Sovereignty means that one state cannot demand another state to take any particular internal action. This is the first principle. Second one, mutual non-aggression. That means not to engage in military action against each other. Third one, mutual non-interference. Not to interfere in each other's internal affairs, internal problems. Fourth one, equality and cooperation for mutual benefit. Cooperating with each other to attain equal benefit. And last one, peaceful coexistence. It's a type of relations between states with a different social system. These principles were incorporated in the Bandung Declaration. It was signed in the Afro-Asian Conference held in 1955 in Indonesia. Bandung Conference, it means it is a representative of 29 governments of Asian and African nations gathering in Bandung, that is Indonesia, to discuss peace and role of Third World in the Cold War. Next one, basic determinants of a foreign policy. Determinants, factors, basic factors of a foreign policy. First determinant, geographical position and size of territory, that is location and the size of a territory. Nation's history, tradition and philosophical basis. Nation's history, that is record of the past. Tradition, customs and philosophical basis. What do you mean by philosophy? Ideas and beliefs about meaning of life. Third one, natural resources. Fourth, the compulsion of economic development, that is a nation's improvement. Next, political stability, without change, attaining a stable and the structure of government. The necessity of peace, importance of peace, disarmament, non-usage of weapons and non-proliferation, prevention of nuclear weapons. Next one, military strength. And last, international milieu. Milieu meaning setting or environment. So these are all the basic factors of a foreign policy, that is geographical position, a nation's history, tradition and philosophy, natural resource, economic development, political stability, necessity of peace, disarmament and non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, military strength and international milieu. Let us now see the next topic, foreign policy in 1950s and 1960s. So the period from independence. Do you remember when did you get the independence? Which year? Yes, 1947, August 15, 1947. So the period from independence through 1950s and 1960s constituted the most idealistic phase of India's foreign policy. Idealistic perfection, dream of perfection of India's foreign policy under the guidance of India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. The new nations that got independence after the long period of colonial struggle, like India, found themselves in a very difficult situation. So, Nehru, India's first Prime Minister, was opposed to the rivalry of the two superpowers, America and Russia. So, he chose the path of non alignment. India's Prime Minister, Mr. Jawaharlal Nehru, he do not want to join in any of the blocs, either the American bloc or the Russian bloc. He chose his own path. That path is called as a path of non-alignment, that is not aligning with any of the bloc, that is not joining with any of the bloc, not joining either with America or not joining with the Russia. He tried to form a third bloc of nations in international affairs. He do not want to join the American bloc or the Russian bloc. He found a new path and started a new concept called as a non-alignment. Let us now see the definition given by Jawaharlal Nehru regarding this foreign policy. Broadly, non-alignment means not tying yourself off with military blocs. It means trying to view things as far as possible, not from the military point of view, though that has to come in sometimes, but independently, and trying to maintain friendly relations with all countries. So, what he is saying is, non-alignment means not tying yourself off with military blocs. It doesn't mean that we are away from the military bloc. Then what it means? It means trying to view things as far as possible, not from the military point of view. Don't try to solve the problem always by using military, though that has to come in sometimes, but independently, and trying to maintain friendly relations with all countries. Try to solve all the problems in a friendly manner, friendly relation with all the other countries. He says, do not use weapons, do not use military force to solve any of the problem. Create a friendly relation with all the countries and solve all the world problem. Yes, let us now come to the next very important topic, the non-aligned movement in 1961. The term non-alignment was coined by V. Krishna Menon. He was a very important Indian politician. In his speech at the United Nations in 1953. So, this term, non-alignment term, was coined, was framed by a person named V. Krishna Menon in his speech at the United Nations in the year 1953. It is regarded as the most important feature of India's foreign policy. Yes, this is a very, very important feature of India's foreign policy. What is that? Yes, non-aligned movement. It aimed to maintain national independence in foreign affairs by not joining any military alliance, that is either the American bloc nor the Russian bloc. If we join the American bloc, we have to obey the orders of America. If we join the Russian bloc, we have to obey the orders of Russia. But we need not follow any of their policy if we frame our own policy, that is called as a non-alignment policy. It was formed with a membership of 120 countries, same as India. 120 countries supported this non-aligned movement and they formed it. It has transferred from a political movement to an economical movement. Yes. See now, the founding fathers of non-aligned movement, who were they? Jawaharlal Nehru of India, Tito of Yugoslavia, Nasser of Egypt, Sukarno of Indonesia, and Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana were the founding fathers of non-aligned movement. Is India's foreign policy during Cold War era, Cold War period. The Cold War is between two major blocs, America and Russia. So when these two blocs were fighting, what policy was followed in India? See now, the non-alignment routes did not prevent India from entering into an alignment with the Soviet Union by the Indo-Soviet Treaty of 1971. Even though India signed a policy called or framed a policy called non-alignment, that policy did not stop India to sign an agreement with Soviet Union that is called as a Indo-Soviet Treaty of 1971. In 1974, India also conducted its first nuclear test at Pokhran under Subterranean Nuclear Explosion Project. Yes, we tested our nuclear test at a place called Pokhran in 1974. China conducted her nuclear test in 1964 itself at Lopno. Changing global conditions determine the foreign policy detail. So any country cannot stick on or should not stick on to the same foreign policy. It has to be changed based on the global changing condition. India had to be redeemed, come out from various problems like acute poverty, illiteracy, and chaotic, confusing socio-economic conditions. So India has a high responsibility of redeeming, coming out of all these problems like poverty, illiteracy, and other socio-economic problems. So our new nation could not afford to military entanglement and military alliances. So India's first duty is to come out of all these problems. So it doesn't want to get caught in the military alliances field. Non-alliance did not mean neutrality, that is being neutral, but it is the freedom of nations to decide on issues independently. Independently, a nation can decide and function instead of getting into the trap of the military blocs. Non-alliance did not mean demilitarization of nations. It doesn't mean that the particular country do not strengthen its military power. It was meant to ensure de-escalation of conflicts and tension. A particular country doesn't want to involve themselves in any of the conflicts and tension. That is called non-alignment. Even discarding the non-alliance, India could enormously strengthen her defense system and could become a strong nuclear power. India's basic policy of non-alignments is still in practice, is still in force. Even then, we have a strong military power. Let us see the next topic. New developments in the 1990s and the 20th century. So what had happened in India in the 1990s and in the 20th century? So during the 1990s, along with the fall of the Soviet Union, yes, we all are aware that Soviet Union met a great fall in 1990. So along with its fall, a new global economic order emerged with the support of the Western powers. What is that new order? It's nothing but liberalization, privatization and globalization. So India entered into pacts with Global Economic Forum, that is GATT, and entered into bilateral, trilateral and multilateral agreement. So these three, liberalization, privatization and globalization, was formed in order to have a free trade with the international countries. So regarding that only, India has signed the GATT to have a treaties or trade with the bilateral, that is 2 countries, trilateral with 3 countries and multilateral with many countries. So this shift in India's policy manifested in various ways. Manifested, threatened in various ways. How? Such as better relations with China, the Look East policy, the second nuclear test at Pokhran 1998 in Rajasthan, defense procurement, that is obtaining defense relationship with Israel, energy diplomacy with Arab countries and Iran. Diplomacy, managing relations between different countries, is called as a diplomacy. Agreeing to US nuclear missile defense program and India's vote against Iran at the International Atomic Energy Agencies. These are the important events which took place in India in the 1990s and the 20th century. In that, the very important is that new foreign policy, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization introduction. India in the resurgent 21st century. Meaning of resurgent, rising up, coming up. Let us see the first point. The foremost task of India's foreign policy is to enable the domestic transformation of India. The first and very important task of India's foreign policy is to enable our India from domestic to international transformation, or to bring about a development overall India. Next, India has adjusted to meet the needs of intensified economic engagement with the world. India has adjusted to meet the needs of intensified economic engagement with the world. India has started to move with the other world countries in the field of trade. It is designed to meet the needs of an increased inflow of capital, technology, ideas and innovation for our development. It is designed, our policy is designed in such a way to meet our needs of an increased inflow of, that is coming in of the capital, the investment, foreign collaboration, technology, ideas and innovation for our development. That is inviting foreign people to come and invest in India. Next, India engages with current global subjects and articulates its international policy. Articulates, to say something very clearly, that's called articulates. So India involves with current global subject, moving with the entire world countries and improving its international policies. India has joined new global groups like the group of G20. Then India, Brazil and South Africa together formed a group called IBSA, and Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa formed a group called as BRICS. All these groups gives more scope for India to play a very larger role in the global affairs. India's global security concerns are reflected in its military modernization, maritime security and nuclear policies. India has given a more importance to 3 important fields: military modernization, maritime security, that is coastal guards, and nuclear policies. The response of our policy makers at economic, political, and strategic level have enabled India to emerge as a potential great power, though it faces enormous development changes. The response, that is our policy makers made policy in such a way in the field of economic, political, and made India to emerge, to come up as a potential great power, even though it faces many challenges, that is enormous development, more developmental challenges. These challenges include sustaining the country's economic growth rate, ensuring energy and security, sustaining to keep something healthy. Non-military issues like climate change, energy security, competition for scarce resources, food and water security, pandemics, and migration. These are all the non-military issues. So India is facing all these problems too. These challenges are not beyond the reach of India's policy establishment. Yes, even though India has many challenges, India's policy and policy makers will make India to overcome all these challenges and march India towards the path of development. Next, basic concepts of India's foreign policy. What are its basic concepts of framing the foreign policy? Preservation of national interest, to preserve our nation, our country. Achievement of world peace, should not encourage for militarism. Third, disarmament, that is not using arms and weapons. Fostering cordial relationship with other countries, maintaining, bringing in cordial, smooth relationship with other countries, that is do not fight with the other countries. If there is any fight also or any conflicts also, it should be solved by peaceful talk. Solving conflicts by peaceful means, yes, maintain the cordial relation. Independence of thought and action as per the principle of NAM, that is non-aligned movement. Independence of thought. Each and every country or our country have the independence of thinking and acting as per the principle of non-alignment movement. Equality in conducting international relations. International relations will be conducted equally. Then we are against colonialism, imperialism, and racism. Colonialism, maintaining a colony. Imperialism, countries control over another country. And racism, treating the people or segregating the people based on their race. Policy of disarmament, that is non-usage of arms and weapons. That policy, since independence, global non-proliferation has been a dominant theme of India's nuclear policy. So from the time of independence, India had a strong theme that not to use any weapons. So India supported UN disarmament program, Indian nuclear program in 1974 and 1998. That is, India tested its nuclear power at Pokhran two times, once in 1974 and 1998. It is done only for strategic purposes, to show the power of India. The two themes of India's nuclear doctrine are no first use, and next one, credible minimum deterrence. What do you mean by this no first use? It is a policy by a nuclear power not to use nuclear weapons as a means of warfare unless first attacked by an adversary using nuclear weapons. That is, India will never use the nuclear weapons for a war. Next one, credible minimum deterrence. It is a principle on which India's nuclear strategy are based. Next, it has decided not to use nuclear power for offensive purposes and would never use against any non-nuclear state. India will never use this nuclear power for offensive purposes. At the same time, it will not use against any non-nuclear state, any state which are not using the nuclear weapons. Indo-US civilian nuclear deal marks a significant progress in India's foreign policy. Indo-US civilian nuclear deal, a deal with the US civilian, marks a great improvement or a progress in India's foreign policy. Yes. Let us now go to the next topic, SAARC, South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation. Let us see what it is. SAARC is an economic and geopolitical organization of 8 countries that are primarily located in South Asia. It is an organization of 8 South Asian countries. The SAARC policies aim to promote welfare economics, collective self-reliance among the countries of South Asia, and to accelerate socio-cultural development in the region. The main aim of the SAARC policy is to bring in welfare among the countries, collective self-reliance among the countries of South Asia, and to accelerate socio-cultural development in the region. This is the main aim of the SAARC. SAARC Disaster Management Center was set up at New Delhi. SAARC Disaster Management Center. It was set up in New Delhi. The center is a sleek body of professionals working on various dimensions of disaster risk reduction and management in South Asia. SAARC satellite is proposed communication cum meteorology satellite by Indian Space Research Organization for the SAARC region. That is, SAARC satellite is proposed communication cum meteorology satellite developed by Indian Space Research Organization for the SAARC region alone. The member countries of the SAARC are Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Maldives, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. See the map here. All the member countries are given with different colors. First, Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and Maldives. Yes. Foreign policy. What do you mean by foreign policy? They have given a small definition. It is a combination of strategies carefully formulated by a nation for maintaining relationship with other nations. Diplomacy. Diplomacy is an instrument for implementing foreign policy of a state. Contemporary context. Change and continuity in India's foreign policy. Prioritizing an integrated neighborhood. Neighborhood first policy. Bridging diplomacy and development. A gradual transition from look east to act east policy, economic development, India as a leading power. Let us now see one by one what it is. See the first point, neighborhood first policy. That is our neighboring countries, giving most importance for our neighboring countries. India's foreign policy has always regarded the concept of neighborhood as one of widening concentric circles around the central axis of historical and cultural commonalities. So, in the inner circle, our Indians' historic and cultural commonalities will be there, surrounded by the concept of neighborhoods. That is, our history and cultures are surrounded by the neighborhood circle. India gives political and diplomatic priority to her immediate neighbors and the Indian Ocean island state such as Maldives. So, India gives utmost importance to the Indian Ocean island state, that is Maldives. The centrality of neighbors in India's foreign policy stems from the clear understanding that a peaceful periphery is essential for India to achieve her multifarious developmental goals. Our country India has many developmental goals. In order to achieve these developmental goals, India has to follow a foreign policy based on a peaceful relation with all the neighboring countries. India provides neighbors with support as needed in the form of resources, equipment, and training. India collects or gets from its neighbors various resources, equipments, and also the training, both men and material. Greater connectivity and integration is provided so as to improve the free flow of goods, people, energy, capital, and information. India is well connected and integrated with other world countries so as to improve the free flow of goods from foreign countries, people, energy, capital, as well as information. Next one, bridging diplomacy and development. One of the major objectives of India's foreign policy has been to leverage international partnership for India's domestic development. If India has to develop, then it is a must that it should have a relationship or a very good partnership with the international countries. This includes improving technological access, sourcing capital, gaining market access, and securing natural resources. If India is having a very good international relationship, then it is very easy for India to get foreign technology, foreign capital, foreign market, and also to secure foreign natural resources. Next, a gradual transition, that is slow transition from look east to act east policy, that is mingling with the other Asian countries. Southeast Asia begins with Northeast India. Southeast Asia is beginning with the northeast of India. Myanmar is our land bridge to the countries of the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. India is also one of the member, and Myanmar is a land bridge to the countries. Can you name the whole name of this Myanmar? Yes, it is Burma. The purpose is to ensure a stable and multipolar balance of power in the Indo-Pacific Ocean and to become an integral part of Asia. The main purpose of setting up of this Asian is to ensure to bring in a stable and multipolar balance of power in the Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean, Indo-Pacific Ocean, and to become an integral part of Asia. The three big elements in our Eastern policy are strong emphasis on physical connectivity, commercial, and security related. For three important reasons, we are having this association. One is physical connectivity, next commercial trade, and third security related. Next, economic development. Currently, that is at present, India's political moves are being influenced by economic imperatives. What do you mean by economic imperatives? It is a set of principles that guide organizations in changing their work ethics and cultural values as time changes. The same policy India is also following at present. Many nations are moving to forge better relationship with India. So many countries are coming forward to have a good relationship with India. Accelerated, fast, balanced, equal, and inclusive economic development is India's primary goal. India's primary goal is it needs accelerated economic development, balanced economic development, and also inclusive economic development. India achieves this by ensuring peace and security. Yes, India is keep on achieving one by one all its goal by following a very simple policy to ensuring peace and security. To obtain all that is needed to fuel economic development, markets, investment, technology, linkage, mobility of personnel, that is moving of persons, fair global governance, and a stable and fair environment conducive for growth. So all this is needed for the economic development of India. India as a leading power. India is a member of the G20, the East Asia Summit formed by the East Asian countries. India is also one of the member. The BRICS coalition, a testament to its status as a large country with a fast growing economy. India is a fast growing economy and it is a member of the BRICS. India aspires for permanent memberships on the UN Security Council. We all know that there are 5 permanent members in the UN Security Council. They are UK, USA, Russia, China, and France. India is also trying to become one of the permanent membership. Now India has an increasing range of interests which are anchored in different parts of the world. Now India has increasing range of interest. All those interests are anchored in different parts of the world. It stems from a wide range of factors such as the need to secure energy, vital natural resources, the imperative of maintaining open shipping lanes, seeking investments and trade opportunities overseas, and the need to secure trade access. All these are some of the range of interests of India which are anchored in different parts of the world. Let us now see the difference between domestic policy and foreign policy. See the tabular column here, domestic policy and foreign policy. Domestic policy is the nation's plan. It is a country's plan for dealing issues within its own nation. That is, all the problems dealing inside the country itself. Foreign policy is a nation's plan for dealing with the other nation, that is outside the country, not within the country, dealing with the other countries. Domestic policy, it includes laws focusing on domestic affairs, social welfare, health care, education, civil rights, economic issues and social issues. So some of the domestic policies are social welfare, health care, education, civil right, economic issues and social issues within the country. Some of the foreign policies are trade, diplomacy, sanctions, defense, intelligence and global environments. These are the main differences between the domestic policy and foreign policy. Conclusion. We have come to the end of the lesson. Listen. Today India has formal diplomatic relations with most of the nation. It is world's second most populous country, largest democracy and one of the fastest growing country. Yes. India is not in any major military alliance. Our relations with the major powers have acquired a strategic depth. Our common fight against terrorism is a particular element of strength. India has sought to achieve its security and socio-economic advancement. India is working for peace, freedom, progress and justice to all nations and people. India adheres to the foreign policy principle that in international relations there is no permanent friend and no permanent foe, that is enemy. Only the interests are permanent. Yes, well said. New challenges forced India to adjust to new realities. Even then, basic framework of its foreign policy remained more or less the same. I hope you have understood all the concepts very clearly. Yes. Thank you, students. I'll meet you again in the next chapter.